philosophy. All I'm asking is that you go exercise your right to vote. That is very, very important. If you don't exercise your right to vote, you're not paying tribute to so many Americans who gave their lives so that we could have this moment, recognizing our history and preparing for our future. So you've seen a lot in the press and media about the election at the presidential level, but all votes matter at every level, at the state level, at the local level, and in your various communities. So please exercise your right to vote and do that deliberately. As they've been saying over the last couple of days, make sure that you make a plan. I am pleased to have with me today the Chief Executive Officer of our state and one of the finest Hornets I know, Governor John Carney. Also, Chip Rossi, who is the president of Bank of America, Delaware, and a good and lifelong friend, and also an incredible supporter of Delaware State University as well. Gary Stockbridge, who is the president of Atlantic City Electric and Delmarva Power, both of which are Exelon companies. I can't tell you how long Gary Stockbridge has been supporting Delaware State University and the state of Delaware writ large in any number of capacities. Gary, I want to thank you for being here as well. And two of our finest students, Kaylin Pride from Wilmington, Delaware, who is a senior and a terrific communicator and advocator and ambassador for her soon-to-be alma mater. And Miss Delaware State University, Ashley Davis, who is one of our aspiring lawyers and one of the most articulate students that I know. We are here today because in June, Bank of America made $1 billion commitment to racial equality and economic opportunity. I'm going to say that again. In June, Bank of America made $1 billion commitment to racial equality and economic opportunity. In September, they announced that $300 million of that $1 billion would go into 4 key areas, one of which we're going to talk about today. That particular area is jobs. And they see, as we see, if you can build capacity for a diverse, high-quality talent pipeline, then not only are you a better company, but you're a better company for the clients and customers you serve in your community and around the world. And most notably, they decided to spend their time with HBCUs, HSIs, Hispanic Serving Institutions, and community colleges so that they could make sure that access, particularly for Black and Brown communities, was key to their strategy. Now, Chip Rossi will talk about more of that momentarily here, but I can tell you today, and I'm pleased to announce, that Delaware State University will receive $1 million from Bank of America to build capacity and reimagine our career pathways programs. What excites me about that, and Chip's been very deliberate about it, is that it's not about Bank of America. Chip has been very deliberate in not only saying that they want to expand Black and Brown talent at their company, but they want it to be a catalyst for other companies to make those kinds of commitments, regardless of discipline, regardless of field. You have heard many times, I know I've heard many times, that too many companies say we want a diverse talent pipeline, but we can't always find the diversity. I've always said, if that's your attitude, you're just not looking hard enough. And I can tell you, companies like Bank of America reject that notion. Companies like Exelon reject that notion. And now they are continuing to do what they've always done, live their values and make a strong commitment to Delaware State University and some of our sister institutions, including places like Florida A&M, North Carolina A&T, and Morgan State University. So we'll spend a little time talking about that commitment today. But before we do that, I did want to give an opportunity for the governor, who's been so gracious with his time, to just comment on this important announcement today. And Governor, before you begin, let me say on behalf of the entire Delaware State University community, and as a proud Delawarean, we have been significantly proud of your leadership during this unprecedented time and look forward to our continued work together. Governor Carney.
You with all Delaware State Hornets, particularly with the students who are joining us on the panel today. They represent the future of our state and the future and the present of our state. I do want to say a word before talking about this really incredible investment by Bank of America about Delaware State University and its response to COVID-19. I'm just so proud of you, Dr. Allen, and your students for what you've been doing since you've brought students back to campus, both in remote and in-person instruction. The discipline that's required to prevent the COVID-19 virus from spreading one to another, and the selflessness that's involved in all of that, because we know that the actions we take to wear masks, to be social distancing, is more about protecting our neighbor and our friends than it is about protecting ourselves. And Delaware State University and its students has really led the way in testing and response and in being responsible member of the community. And we thank you for that, because we've seen incidents across the country at colleges and universities that hasn't gone so well. This is a really big deal, and I want to thank Bank of America for really stretching the limits here in an investment in diversity, an investment in some of the finest universities and colleges in our country, and an investment in Delaware and its workforce. We know that our ability to compete as a state depends more and more on the quality of our workforce. And of course, Gary Stockbridge and his leadership role with the Workforce Development Council and Forward Delaware knows this better than anyone in the companies that he heads up. And we know, as a result of the awarenesses brought to the fore by the Black Lives Matter protests through the spring and summer, of the inequities, the systemic inequities that exist in our country and have in our state for some time. Those inequities are in education, they're in employment, they're in economic opportunities. And so investments like this, my father used to have an expression, and he used to say, talk is cheap and actions speak louder than words. Talk is cheap and actions speak louder than words. And we can say all that we want about diversity is important, and we want to address, and Black lives do matter, and we want to address some of these systemic inequities. But putting your money where your mouth is action speaking louder than words. And that's why what Bank of America is doing with their $1 billion investment, with their investment in HBCUs nationally, and their HIUs nationally, and in particular with their specific investment of $1 million in Delaware State University, and importantly, its students and its graduates, to address some of these systemic inequities, is just an incredible thing. It's an incredible way to speak loudly with your actions, and in doing so, to strengthen the quality of our workforce, the diversity of our workforce, and the strength of our state. As Gary, we've talked a lot in the economic development world that the most important differential among states in competing with one another is the quality of the workforce. And so as we attempt to compete with other states for new jobs, new businesses, and to cultivate the workforce of existing businesses like Delmarva Power and like Bank of America, this kind of investment is just so incredibly important. So let me just end by thanking CHIP and Bank of America for really a life-changing investment for so many students, for our students that are represented here, representing all of the Delaware State University Hornet community. today, and to Gary and his leadership in the Workforce Development Council, and Dr. Allen, to you and all the folks at Delaware's State University. I did see that on the opening slide, Delaware's State University. Hornets are certainly rising in our state, and this kind of investment is going to help those students and help Delaware be more competitive. So thank you very much to each of you.
Thank you, Governor. I know you have to run, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about your terrific work with respect to career pathways, particularly as it relates to K-12 to the college pipeline. Could you just talk briefly about the importance of that connection throughout as we talk about skilling and reskilling in a 21st century Delaware?
Yeah, so it's really incredibly important. The truth of the matter is, even under these COVID-19 circumstances where we've lost almost 80,000 people, 80,000 people were out of work for some period of time. About half of those, almost half, have come back to work. And Gary and the members of his council know this better than anyone. Then still, there are many jobs that are going begging because we don't have young people with the skills necessary for those jobs. And so the pathways that we have at the high school level and our investments in higher education are more important than ever. Our certificate programs, we've set aside $15 million of CARES Act funding, and thanks to Senator Carper, Senator Coons, and Congresswoman Blunt-Rochester for those investments for high in-demand jobs like IT, like healthcare, like the trades. It's really a kind of amazing mix of workforce needs in our economy in our state. And fundamentally, it's about preparing young people, letting them know about the opportunities that exist, try to encourage them to look at those opportunities, get the education and training that they need. And sometimes it's just a certificate at a technical college at Delaware Tech. It's a degree from Delaware State University or the University of Delaware, or just trades skilled training at one of our other institutions. The funding's there, the focus is there, and the need is there. It's really a question, and this is what Gary and his group do so well, working with Sarang Cade, a Delaware State University graduate who's their Secretary of Labor, to make those connections with businesses who need young people with those skills and the young people to get the skills necessary. So critically important, Dr. Allen, for the success of our businesses, the success of our students, and ultimately the success of our state.
Well, thank you, Governor, and thank you for taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule. As I said at the start, we can't thank you enough for your leadership through both these pandemics, both the coronavirus and what we're seeing with respect to racial equity and equality. And as you said, as your father said, I should say, taking the steps that really matter. Action speaking louder than words is exactly what Bank of America and folks like Gary Stockbridge and Chip Rossi are doing today. So thank you for your time and your commitment and your leadership.
I would be remiss if I did not mention the Inspire Scholarship, because it is one that we've added additional resources to over the last couple of years. It's a critically important resource for young people graduating from high school here in Delaware to go to Delaware State University, and we have that financial assistance now for all 4 years. Lots of legislators who have been part of that. Our thanks go out to each of them. And it's, again, an important investment in young people in Delaware and ultimately in our workforce and the strength of our state. So thank you all. Sorry I couldn't stay. To our students, next time I hope to see you in your sashes as Miss Wilmington and Miss Delaware State University.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
Take care. Now we're going to turn it over to Chip Rossi. I am proud to tell you all that I've known Chip Rossi since we were little kids. And he has always had a big heart, lots of energy and passion, and really thinks about the quality of the whole. As an incredible leader. And Chip, just to say thank you on behalf of the Delaware State University community doesn't seem like enough, but we know where your heart is. Talk a little bit about the company you work for and how some of this is a lot of this is in their DNA, and a very good fit for what Bank of America is doing and how they're going to empower others. Chip?
Thanks, Tony. And obviously, thank you to the governor for spending some time with us this morning. And, I just want to reiterate the point that hornets are rising. For those of you that know me and may know you're president of the university, the red I'm wearing today might go back to William Penn, a local high school in Delaware. It might. But for today, it is really about Delaware State University. And I want to say this to Dr. Allen. Congratulations to you as well on your recent engagement. I'm so happy for you and Tara. And I can tell everyone here today that as a person, I have known Tony for decades, dating back to his childhood, and as someone who has worked alongside him for many years, that you have an outstanding leader who has a huge, huge heart and is fully committed to this university and to the state of Delaware. I can also tell you this, that this job as your president of Delaware State University is a dream come true for him. You have a great team at Delaware State. And what's clear is when you bring passion, commitment, and focus together with a common purpose, it's really special. It is really special. And yes, it all matters, and you're off to a nice start. And keep moving forward and continue to challenge the status quo. As we all know, we can and need to be better. And to talk about disrupting the status quo, I know the folks on this call know the pandemic has really amplified what many of you on this call have known and experienced for years and for some decades. That racial injustice and inequalities that have been perpetuated because of systemic racism need to be addressed. And my company, Bank of America, believes in what Jim Collins calls the genius of the and. We need to generate a return for our shareholders and help address some of society's most complex issues. And earlier this year, we committed $1 billion over 4 years to address and help to address social and economic inequalities that exist for Black and Hispanic Latino people. This commitment focuses on 4 priorities: health, jobs and training, think upskilling and reskilling, career pathing, support for small businesses, and housing. When you think about walking the talk or action speaking louder than words, recently we directed $300 million of that $1 billion into the following areas: $200 million of equity investments in minority-owned businesses and funds supporting minority entrepreneurs. $50 million is going to minority deposit institutions and other community lending organizations. $25 million for community outreach and health-related efforts, and $25 million to job initiatives to support those job initiatives. And today, we want to discuss how we're putting some of the $25 million supporting job initiatives to work in Delaware. As the president mentioned, Tony, as your president mentioned, we recently announced our partnership with 11 community colleges and 10 public HBCUs and HSIs across the nation, where the goal is to bring employers across any field together to work with the institution. In this case, it's Delaware State University, to develop career pathing and curriculum and training that addresses the specific hiring needs of those companies. Each of those institutions will receive $1 million. And I am just excited and thrilled to share that Delaware State University is one of those universities. It's $1 million to provide specialized curriculum and training that will hopefully put employers in a position across those industries and across this entire state to hire the young adults that are attending Delaware State University. Our hope is that effort will lead to more jobs for young adults attending this great university that will help address the racial wealth gap in our country that we know exists. And it will also build upon the Delaware Pathways program and workforce development effort that Gary Stockbridge has been leading for our state. Now, I want to turn it over to Gary. And what I'll just say about Gary is he's a close friend of mine. He's a colleague who has done so much as a business leader for decades here in our state and has done so much for our communities across the state. And he's going to discuss this work and how it aligns to the work that he's been leading across the state. So Gary, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Chip, thank you very much. Let me start out by congratulating you and congratulating Professor Allen on this announcement. It is incredibly exciting, and the timing is perfect. Governor Carney just recently started to infuse money in the state to rebuild our labor force and get people back to work. You'll see on the screen behind me, Forward Delaware. ForwardDelaware.com is a website that was created to start moving Delaware forward coming out of the pandemic. We cannot deny that the pandemic made took an incredible chunk of the workforce out of work. You heard earlier Governor Carney say 80,000 were put out of work by COVID. Now, half of those are back, but that still leaves 40,000. And that is unprecedented in Delaware history. And so the timing of this announcement is perfect relative to catching that wave of bringing Delaware back. And I can think of no better way to bring Delaware back than initiatives like this to really bring the business community and Delaware State and others together. And I'm so excited. You heard Chip say it. He's not talking about just Bank of America. He's talking about the businesses in Delaware. And I know Chip. I know his leadership. And I know when he thinks, he doesn't think just about the Bank of America. He thinks about the community around him. And that includes the business community. And so I know this initiative is going to start to rally the business community. And so that's the next thing that I think is so exciting. Not only the timing of where this is coming, but the leadership between Chip's leadership over the years in the chamber at Bank of America. I just know what he's made of and what his team is made of, and I know he's going to make this a success, and he's going to provide an example to the business community as to how you do this, because we need businesses like that are going to step up and say, this is how you do it. They may not always have the money, but there's also the process of how do you connect with the higher eds and how do you connect with those out of work and create curriculum and get people back to work. But beyond that, my experience at Delmarva Power with Professor Allen and his team, I can just tell you that they are exceptional at being flexible, understanding the business needs, and creating curriculum and creating and basically putting out graduates that are ready to hit the workforce. And so this partnership between Bank of America and the university is exceptional at a time when Delaware needs exceptional leaders to step up and show how to do it. And so I'm incredibly excited to be even engaged in this with these two great leaders of Delaware. And I just happen to be in a role that the governor put me in here at the Workforce Development Board to be able to be part of this. I'm excited about it. And as Chip said, it's going to be integrated into all the work that we're doing currently that Governor Carney is leading to get Delawareans back to work. So again, let me kind of finish where I started, and that's congratulating you, Chip, because it's outstanding leadership on your part. It's a great choice as to where to put your money, and I just know you're going to make this a success. And Professor Allen, we've worked with you before so many times, and with your team. Myself, my company and the Workforce Development Board, we're going to be right there with you to make your success expandable across all of Delaware to other businesses. So it's a great partnership. I'm so appreciative of being invited to the table, so to speak, to even say a few words today. And I'm going to help make you all a success as best I can, because I know we have the fundamental things we need in two great leaders. So thank you very much. Let me turn it back to Professor Allen.
Gary and Chip, I just want to say thank you on two levels. Many times we have great companies come in and want to do very nice things for us, but your personal sacrifice and commitment to these issues is both clear and compelling. And before we get to talk to the students, and I do want all three of us to talk to these two fine students in just a minute, just want you to comment, given all the things that we've seen here, particularly over the last 6 months around the racial unrest in our country, why is this the time to get it right? Why is this the time for folks to step up? Not just African Americans, Latinos, but white allies across the country, across industries. What makes this moment so important?
Look, from my perspective, what I have witnessed and what I have learned over the past few months, I will tell you, as a white male, I thought I could understand because we didn't have much as kids. My dad was a bricklayer. And we spent time obviously on public assistance, and I thought I had a clue, but I didn't. And so I've just been doing a lot of listening. And what I have realized through the work that I've done, becoming more aware and becoming more educated, is that this is deep rooted, and it's really the realization of the fact that this has been going on for centuries. And no matter what you look at, I like data. I like to look at data. And any data point you look at, if it's unemployment, okay, if it's education, if it's wealth, okay, if it's health related, everything, this pandemic has amplified the fact that it skews unfavorably to people of color. There's no denying that. And when you look at that as understanding that, you realize something differently has to be done. And there is no better time than the present to get after it. And look, I can just say this to you. I'm one person. Bank of America is one company. I can say this to you personally and professionally. Me as an individual and our company is going to try and do everything we can to help address this. And Tony, that's why I think the time is so right now.
Thank you, Chip. Gary?
Yeah. Just to add, very well said, Chip. And from a timing perspective, Professor Allen, you know this because you've been part of our company's journey around all the things that have happened over the past year. And I think what's important is the awareness is now there. There are so many people that are sitting back saying, okay, I get it now. I know I need to step in and take action now, but what do I do? There's a lot of times people are wondering, how do I help? Where do I help? Well, initiatives like this that the Bank of America, and when you look at the focus areas that Bank of America, not just the one we're talking about today around workforce development, but education and the others, they really targeted those well. And what it does is it starts to give people an idea of where can I step up and where can I insert myself and actually do something to change something. And so I think that's what's important about the timing is, we can't just be kind of aware and talking about it. We need to be doing things about it. And so the timing is perfect right now. And then you layer on top of that the unemployment rate and the important need for what we're talking about. And it just fits naturally that right now we're giving people an opportunity to understand where they can put their money, where they can put their efforts, and how they can make a difference by getting engaged.
Thank you, Gary. And I do want to get to this notion of really being able to identify talented students of color who are ready to go, and what this means for this relationship And I think how we're going to continue to build relationship with others as a result of this grant. Both Chip and Gary, you should know that I already have 2 companies as a result of this particular announcement that have made a personal commitment to getting engaged. And to the students, know that when we are talking about this, it is not just programming. These are companies committing to internships and ultimately jobs, real jobs in your discipline that really will expand your expertise and career trajectory. I've told many people that many of our students come here with very specific reasons to change the trajectory for themselves, their families, and their communities. That's what I think makes Delaware State special. I think that makes HBCU special and HSIs as well as community colleges. So let's turn our attention, gentlemen, to 2 of our students, Kaylin Pride and Ashley Davis. I'm going to start with Kaylin. First of all, Kaylin, just give us a sense of what this means for your classmates. And more importantly, what has advantaged you as you've matriculated through the university? And what do you think you would really need more of to be successful?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to be on this call today. Thank you so much to Bank of America and Mr. Rossi for this wonderful, wonderful investment into our HBCU. I am extremely grateful and blessed to have had many internships throughout my matriculation through college. I'm actually on my 3rd internship right now. I'm a graduate next semester. I'll be graduating, so I'm glad to say I have 3 internships within my repertoire. But I'm really thinking about those underclassmen who will be able to get more of these opportunities just because of this wonderful opportunity that Bank of America will be providing to us. So I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful to the Office of Career Services here at Delaware State University, who have done such an amazing job preparing students through resume review, career advising, interview prep, and mock interviews. And I feel as though this investment will help enhance those needed opportunities as well. In terms of what could be added to help the students, the underclassmen here at Delaware State University, I feel as though a partnership with professionals would be best. That's something that I really wish I would have had here going through Delaware State University. I've had my fair share of mentors who I'm truly grateful for, but if we could really partner with professionals who are within those specific fields that students want to go into, I feel as though that'll truly, truly help the students here at Delaware State University. And of course, with this investment, not only with the monetary investment, but as Dr. Allen said, this is something that will help students get into internships and ultimately career opportunities after graduation. This investment is something that is truly going to help our students, our minority students, get through that. So again, I'm so grateful for Bank of America and everything that they have done for our university. Yeah.
Thank you, Kaylin. And Ashley, are you there, Ash?
Yes.
As I said at the start, Ashley's the reigning Miss Delaware State University, an aspiring attorney, and is really a role model like Kaylin for many students here at Delaware State University. Ashley, why don't you tell us a little bit about one key opportunity that has influenced you with respect to your own professional growth here at the university?
Okay, well, first off, thanks for having me as well. Glad to be here. To speak a little bit about my personal experience with an internship, with the help of Career Services, this past summer, I actually interned with Citi as an ICG operations summer analyst. I really enjoyed it. I took a lot from it. I was actually offered to return full-time post-graduation, so that was a great opportunity for me. I would say this is only one of the amazing experiences I have had on behalf of Career Services, and that was something that really, it was life-changing, honestly. Like that really, just to receive a full-time job offer and know that I'm good post-graduation is just amazing. So I would say that With the help of Bank of America and all that they're doing for us, it will even help the younger students and the incoming freshmen with their career opportunities and give them even more options for what they want to do in their career path.
And Ashley, you've talked a little bit you've been a chief architect of what is called DSU Connect,
Yes.
which is a partnership between you and some of our alumni. Why don't you tell Chip and Gary a little bit about what that is, why you thought it was important to do, and how it might tie into this initiative?
Okay, so DSU Connect is a official alumni mentoring program. So students are actually able to sign up through a portal called Graduate. It's actually DSUconnect.com. And you can actually, so when you apply, you put in your major, your name, your career aspirations, and times you are available. And it actually connects you with an alumni that has that same availability and connection. So you guys are able to receive networking opportunities, professional opportunities, and things of that nature, as well as it's other things on there besides mentoring. You're able to see like job postings and things of that nature as well.
And Chip and Gary, I just want you to know that literally it was Ashley's idea, who went to some older alum and developed it in kind. And I think, Ashley, we are at last count about 1,000 participants in that network already. It started about 2 or 3 months ago.
Yes, it's growing.
Gary, Chip, feel free to ask some questions.
Go ahead, Gary.
You first. It's your party.
Well, first of all, Kaylin and Ashley, thank you for being here and sharing your thoughts with everyone. And I can't reinforce enough that this is really about all of you, all of the students that are on this call today, and the quality of the group at Delaware State University leading this effort. And Gary and I will help bring businesses to the table and working with all of you. This will hopefully create opportunities. So Ashley, my question for you is, if companies, how do we get to companies right now to kind of get the opportunities that might exist, or direct links to companies around the opportunities that exist at those companies for graduates or soon to be graduates of Delaware State University?
So how would we get to those companies? I would say just by connecting the students with them via networking opportunities, more career fairs. Even though everything is virtual right now, I would say just, for example, we went to a Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Caitlin is the current ambassador, and that was just, they had a virtual career fair. So I would say if DSU did something else of that nature, that might help. Just more network opportunities specifically with students to connect with these companies.
Do we have links to are there links to the company's opportunities there? Could we provide links that you could get access to those opportunities today? Does that exist?
Are you talking about via DSU Connect?
Yes.
So far, no, but that is definitely something that we could add. That would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to comment after hearing Kaylin's idea about trying to connect with executives in different fields that students may be going out, and then hearing about DSU Connect. I'm just wondering if there's a way those two ideas could be brought together. I know DSU Connect is alumni, but I can tell you, especially through Professor Allen's leadership, there are a tremendous amount of executives in the state of Delaware from across the business community that I'm sure would engage in an opportunity to mentor, counsel, provide advice to students in different fields. And so maybe DSU Connect could be expanded beyond alumni in some fashion to open up opportunities, for different fields where executives could kind of sign in and say, hey, I'm on board. This is my field. Be glad to talk to a student who's looking in this, and that also might give them an opportunity to talk about openings in their company and things like that. So I haven't been on DSU Connect, but I'd love to see. I know at Delmarva Power, with the folks that we have engaged already with the university, I'm sure we could get a host of individuals across different fields that would be willing to be engaged. So maybe we could build on that idea, because I think there's a lot of people in Delaware understand the hidden gem we have, and the need to get these students working and staying in Delaware.
Hey, Gary, if I can speak for you, if I can, and I'm going to speak for myself here, which is, listen, if there is an opportunity for Gary and I to sit down with a group of students at any point in time, you've got an open offer from us to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And if I can just piggyback off of what Mr. Stockbridge said, no, I completely agree with Jim. And I feel as though as a group, we need to make Delaware State University and other HBCUs be the first institutions that are really looked at when these types of opportunities arise. So I completely agree with that. And I think this is something that Ashley and I can get together and work on. Honestly, I feel as though this is something that truly needs to happen. I feel like the bridge needs to be connected between these executives and these higher ups, between us students and them, so we can get to their place one day. Because that's why we're here. We have many goals, dreams, and aspirations, but sometimes it can often feel as though that bridge is not existent. And I feel as though creating that bridge through some type of connect, whether it's the alumni connect or whatever the case may be, to get to those higher ups is what is really needed. So thank you so much for those nuggets.
Hey, Kaylin, just to give you another nugget, yes, we have grown. We have more life experience that allowed for us to, maybe climb to different levels in our company. But don't ever forget this point. We're all human. We all have the same emotions, and we care about others. So just remember that when you're engaging with that person, no matter what, they've had trials and tribulations along the way, and they're human. So we look forward to the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley and Kaylin. I want you to stay on. Before we go to Q&A, I just want to give everybody a sense of the path forward here. Again, both Chip and Gary are great leaders, and they're very thoughtful about not doing something for us or to us, but trying to do it together. So you'll see the timeline for this 4-year effort is really the first year is around planning, assessing, and building. And to Ashley and Kaylin and your classmates, know that students will be involved in that process in particular. One thing that makes me really proud about DSU Connect, outside of it being Ashley's brainchild, really is that alumni connection. And I know Ashley and Kaylin, you know this, but there are many Bank of America and Exelon folks that are Delaware State University graduates. So having that linkage more easily connected will be very important. Year 2 is around really starting the launch. To the faculty out there, know that you will be very engaged as well, particularly with our career pathways programming. And then throughout each of these years, we will actually assess along the way. So there will be significant sustainability measures that we got to get after. I did not say this, but we have a relationship with the Aspen Institute as a result of this grant, where we're going to be in the cohort of all those HBCUs, HSIs, and community colleges learning from one another. We've had some experience with that in the Gates initiative, and the same will be true here. And then in year 4, we'll talk about sustainability. What I hope to do is reimagine our career pathways program in total, so that we can have a new seamless experience that connects you all to experiential opportunities early, and then makes that seamless transition once you go from student to alumni. All right, we'll go to Q&A from the field. Brother Darrell, you won?
I am.
Okay, any questions out there?
Yeah, well, a couple of comments initially. So we cannot tell you the extraordinary efforts that are real life issues and get to the heart of the matter. Thank you sincerely for all that you're doing. That's from Trustee Harrington.
Fantastic.
We want to also announce that there is a virtual career fair that's going to be on November 5th. It's sponsored by the Office of Career Services. So students can go out and register to attend.
Hey, and I should say, I did not say this, but I should say this. We had a terrific deep day last week. Deep day for Gary and Chip. I think both of them know about it. But it's an executive exchange program, had more than 25 companies there and about 600 students who spent a full day engaging. And I can tell you that I was talking to one of the participants from Barclays who offered, I believe, 6 students internships on the spot. Talked about the real quality of the students that we have across disciplines and what that means for their future. So both Gary and Chip in their respective companies are part of the Deep Day experience, but that continues to grow and is now really a university-wide experience as opposed to just being in the College of Business. Go ahead, Darryl.
Okay. Want to thank Dr. Allen and appreciate your leadership in these trying times. This message is for Mr. Rossi. Your candor and willingness to be vulnerable on camera are exceptional. Great job. Thank you for those comments.
Yeah, let me just add, as I said, we've been friends for a long time. Doesn't matter if he's on camera or off camera, that's who he is. And during this summer, I think we've grown even closer than we had before, talking about these issues and being very authentic with each other around how we can grow together and make for better Delaware and a better country.
And the last comment was that where will the video be? And this video will be available at the conclusion of this event off of our website.
So
That's it.
No questions?
No, sir.
Well, bravo and brava. We always have questions during these forums. So thank you all for this. As I said, I just feel humbled about this opportunity, but I'm also proud because, as Gary said, we can't be the hidden gem in Delaware. Folks have to know that we are, in fact, Delaware State University, have a deep, ongoing talent pipeline and a legacy of 130 years that is notable both in Delaware and around the country. So these kinds of efforts allow us to do that. These kinds of friends allow us to do that. And these kinds of students make it real and substantive for the long term. So as we always say, we'll see you real soon. You know, everything we do all matters because you all matter. Stay safe, stay connected, and make sure you vote. We'll see you real soon.